Welcome back to RV News, your trusted source for breaking updates, deep analysis, and exclusive intel on the Iraqi Dinar, the Vietnamese Dong, and the global currency reset. If this is your first time tuning in, make sure to subscribe, turn on notifications, and stay connected because what we are about to share today is one of the most significant and eye-opening developments we've seen in months. This is not a drill. We are talking about verified reports of a new Iraqi dinar rate being spotted at none other than Chase Bank and, shockingly, being discussed on live television. This is a huge shift from the secrecy and quiet maneuvers we've been used to in the revaluation world. And if you're holding IQD or even VND, you're going to want to listen to every word of this update. Over the past 48 hours, chatter has been heating up from multiple intel sources, bank contacts, and on-the-ground reports in both Iraq and the US. What has our attention right now is the consistency of the information coming in and the fact that Chase Bank, one of the largest financial institutions in the world, is right at the center of it. Several of our contacts, who have been reliable in the past, walked into Chase Bank branches and witnessed the Iraqi dinar being displayed on internal rate sheets with a figure that is significantly higher than the official central bank of Iraq rate currently posted publicly. This is not the kind of fluctuation you see from minor forex movements. We're talking about a number that looks like it's been deliberately placed in anticipation of an official change. Even more jaw-dropping, this was not just confined to whispers inside bank walls. A mainstream financial news segment yesterday reportedly showed a currency ticker on live TV that displayed the Iraqi dinar at a much higher value than the usual 1,310 IQD per USD figure we've all been used to. This is a moment that many in the RV community have been waiting for, a tangible, visible sign that the revaluation process is moving into the public domain. Now, let's talk about why this is so important. For years, the revaluation of the Iraqi dinar has been treated as a sensitive, often hidden financial move discussed mostly in private circles, behind closed doors, and encoded messages. Banks have kept a tight lid on their internal screens, and any public mentions of the IQD rate have been heavily guarded. The fact that Chase Bank is allegedly showing this new rate internally is a signal that preparations for an official rollout may be actively underway. And when something makes its way onto live television, even briefly, that's often a sign that the silent phase is coming to an end. I spoke to one of our trusted intel providers late last night, and they confirmed that their bank contacts were instructed earlier this week to be on standby for rate adjustments and possible appointment scheduling for select clients. That kind of directive doesn't get issued unless the gears are turning behind the scenes. Another factor that has caught our attention is the timing. If you've been following our recent reports, you know that Iraq has been in heavy negotiations with international partners, finalizing oil contracts, trade agreements, and currency settlement terms. This coincides with reports from Baghdad that the Central Bank of Iraq has completed another round of digital infrastructure upgrades, making their payment and settlement systems fully compliant with international SWIFT protocols. And this is not random. The digital side has to be in place before they can flip the switch on any large-scale rate change. And insiders say this infrastructure is now live and tested. There's also the geopolitical side of this. Iraq has been in active discussions with the IMF and World Bank about moving toward full Article 8 compliance, which would allow the dinar to be freely convertible on the global market. In plain English, that means the IQD could be traded internationally without restrictions, a necessary step for any meaningful revaluation. Combine that with the fact that U.S. Treasury representatives have reportedly been in Baghdad within the last 2 weeks, and you start to see the larger picture forming. We're talking about coordinated movement between Iraq's central authorities, global financial institutions, and major U.S. banks, with Chase Bank being one of the main players ready to handle exchanges. But what exactly was spotted? According to one first-hand report from a source who walked into a Chase branch in Texas, the internal rate sheet showed the Iraqi dinar at $3.41 per IQD. Let that sink in. That is not a testing number like we've sometimes seen with placeholders. In the past, That is a live rate that would make many dinar holders' investment dreams come true instantly. Another source in Florida reported seeing $2.96 on a different branch's system, suggesting the multiple rate tiers are being tested or different banks are seeing different stages of the rollout. We have to stress that until this is fully public and confirmed across the board. These rates should be treated as pending, but the fact they are on internal screens at all is massive. This means they are not theoretical. The banks have the data loaded. All they're waiting for is the go signal. Then there's the live TV piece of the puzzle. Yesterday afternoon, during a segment on a major financial news network, viewers noticed the Iraqi dinar briefly appear on the ticker at the bottom of the screen. Instead of the usual long exchange rate number, the ticker showed 1 IQD equals $3.25. USD before quickly switching back to the normal figure. Was it a glitch? Was it an intentional leak? Or was it a live test of their display systems? Regardless, the fact that it aired in real time means that data is already flowing through public systems, even if only momentarily. And historically, in other currency changes, we've seen similar brief mistakes just before official announcements. Some might be asking, could this be just another false alarm? We've certainly had our share of those in the RV community, but this time feels different. The consistency across multiple reports, the presence of these numbers on bank systems, the live TV appearance, and the geopolitical readiness of Iraq all point towards something real happening. Also, this is not coming solely from guru speculation. We have real banking staff quietly confirming they've seen the same thing. The only thing missing now is the public release. And if the banks are already looking at the numbers, that release could be days or even hours away. Here's where it gets even more interesting. Some sources have indicated that Chase Bank is not just prepared for IQD exchanges, has also received updated procedural manuals for handling Tier 4B appointments. That's the group of private investors, including many of you watching right now, who are expected to be processed before the general public. These manuals reportedly include rate tables for multiple currencies, including the Vietnamese dong, the Zimbabwe, Zim bonds, and others. In other words, this may not just be the dinar's moment. This could be the starting gun for the broader revaluation event we've been anticipating. We also have reports that certain Chase Bank branches in larger metropolitan areas have set aside private conference rooms for upcoming appointments. Staff in these branches have been told to expect high-value currency exchanges and to be ready for enhanced verification protocols, bank speak for making sure everything is legal, documented, and fully compliant. This matches what we've heard from other big banks like Wells Fargo and Bank of America in the past few weeks. But the fact that Chase is already showing the new rates internally gives them a serious edge in being among the first to process exchanges once the green light is given. On the Iraq side, local media has been unusually quiet about the dinar's exchange rate over the past few days. Normally, the central bank posts updates and explanations about currency stability, but lately, the messaging has been focused on economic growth, foreign investment, and infrastructure projects. This could be a deliberate move to avoid drawing attention while final preparations are made. One source in Baghdad told us that several ministries have received new budget allocation sheets calculated at a much higher dinar value, which would explain how they're suddenly talking about funding large-scale projects without borrowing. Again, this points toward the internal government numbers already reflecting the upcoming rate, even if the public still sees the old figure. So, what does all of this mean for you, the currency holder? It means you should be ready, not in a vague someday sense, but literally ready in the practical ways we've been advising for months. Have your currency counted and organized? Have your IDs and proof of purchase documents ready? Know which banks you want to approach first? If you are in the US, Chase Bank may now be one of your top priorities, given their visible role in this unfolding story. If you're overseas, watch for signs from your local banks that have partnerships or correspondent relationships with U.S. institutions. Because once this hits, the ripples will be global. The most important thing, right? Now is to remain calm and patient while also being fully prepared. Don't run to the bank demanding to cash out based on today's intel until the public announcement is made. Tellers will either deny knowing anything or say the rate hasn't changed.
Oh.
Remember, the people you see at the counter are not the ones making the decisions. They're simply following protocol.
But make